Welcome to this introduction to the Iowa High School Music Association. This orientation is designed to assist new and experienced music teachers as they learn to navigate the rules and regulations of the Iowa High School Music Association and our online registration process. The Iowa High School Music Association, IHSMA, is one of 4 state-level activity associations identified and charged with overseeing interscholastic high school activities by the Iowa Department of Education. These 4 associations include the Iowa High School Speech Association, the Iowa High School Athletic Association, Boys Athletics, the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union, and the Iowa High School Music Association. IHSMA is an association of member high schools and is housed in the office building of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. The Executive Committee of the Iowa High School Music Association is the rules-making body of the association. That committee is comprised of 3 administrators, either superintendents or high school principals, 1 high school vocal music teacher, 1 high school instrumental music teacher, band or orchestra. Each of these members are elected at large and serve 5-year terms. In addition to those 5 members, there is a 6th member that is appointed by the Iowa Association of School Boards. This committee meets 4 times per year, or more if need be, to discuss regulation changes and attend to the business of the association. The District Advisory Group is a 6-member committee that meets twice annually with the Executive Committee to provide input and advise them on potential changes. This committee is comprised of 2 administrators, 2 high school instrumental music teachers, and 2 vocal music teachers. In addition to these 2 committees, advisory committees from the Iowa Bandmasters Association, Iowa Choral Directors Association, and Iowa String Teachers exist to meet regularly with the IHSMA Executive Director to explore and recommend policy and regulation changes to the IHSMA Executive Committee and District Advisory Group. The Iowa High School Music Association employs 2 staff members to attend to the day-to-day operations of the Iowa High School Music Association. It is the job of the Executive Director of the Iowa High School Music Association to serve as the rules interpreter on behalf of the Executive Committee and to ensure that the rules and regulations of the association are interpreted uniformly and fairly to all schools. The current Executive Director is Alan Greiner. The administrative assistant, provided by the Iowa High School Athletic Association, serves to assist the Executive Director in the day-to-day operations of the association. Cassie Smith-Britton serves as the association's administrative assistant. The IHSMA website is designed to be user-friendly and intuitive. There are 7 areas of the website reflected in the menu bar. The news area is where you will find any new announcements from the IHSMA office. Weather-related delays and postponements will be posted here as they occur. General information is the section of our website that contains general information about the Music Association. The fall and spring bulletins, membership form, and intent to register form can all be found in this section. The guidance section contains important pieces of guidance on several topics that can be difficult for teachers and administrators. Topics covered include guidance on good conduct GPA policies with regard to co-curricular and curricular activities, school start date guidance, and the use of religious music in public schools guidance. The festival information section contains festival-specific information for each of the festivals that IHSMA offers. Registration deadlines, costs, admission fees, and festival dates for each festival can be found in this area. The large group festival page contains the most current versions of the required literature lists for concert choirs and concert bands. The sanctioning area of IHSMA website is an important area for those schools wishing to host their own interscholastic music competition or adjudicated festival. The sanctioning policy and application can be found here, as well as guidance on copyright compliance. The resources section of the website is where additional information and resources can be found that impact your music curriculum and teaching. The login portion of the website allows registered teachers, adjudicators, and administrators access to the restricted portions of the IHSMA website. Once a teacher, adjudicator, or administrator has been issued a user ID and password from the IHSMA office, users are able to register their ensembles for participation, access and listen to adjudicator recordings, evaluate adjudicators, as well as view individual adjudicator results for each of their ensembles. To log in, users simply input their user ID. Remember, when doing so, there are no spaces between the first and last name, and then enter their password. Once logged into Festival Central, the user will see a new menu. This restricted portion of the website is divided into three main sections: School Options, Site Options, and Judge Options. There's also a selection for My Account. For the purposes of this tutorial, we will explore the School Options menu and My Account. Let's begin with My Account. When you place your cursor over My Account, a drop-down menu will appear. This menu has three functions: Director Profile, Password Reset, and Judge Profile. One of the first things each user will want to do is fill out the Director Profile and reset their password to something more secure than the generic password that is initially issued to you. By filling out the Director Profile and inputting your email address, the Forgot Password function will then be able to generate an automated email reminding you of what your password is should you forget it. Users that fail to fill out this section will need to contact the IHSMA office to retrieve their password. If your email address changes, just resubmit the new information. The Judge Profile section is where adjudicators provide IHSMA office with their current contact information, skill set, availability for the upcoming festival series. The next section of the restricted portion of the IHSMA website to explore is the School Options menu. Place your mouse over the words School Options and a menu will drop down that lists each of the IHSMA festivals available to you. Please note that the IHSMA Piano Festival is now part of the Solo Ensemble Festival and that users should disregard this menu option. Let's explore the Marching Band Festival options. If we click on the Marching Band in the School Options drop-down, you'll notice that a menu now appears in the far left-hand column of your screen. This menu consists of two main sections, Registration and Results. Place your mouse over the word Registration and a menu will open directly to the right. Here you will see a link for instructions, edit entry, and invoice. The registration process will be explained in more detail a bit later. Directly below the Registration menu is the Results menu. This is the menu that displays the ratings that each adjudicator awarded each performing ensemble. This recap displays each judge's ratings for all performing ensembles for your schools at your performance site, but will only display the points awarded for your school. Below the ratings report is the tool for you to input judge evaluations. And finally, a section for you to review each judge's verbal commentary of your ensemble's performance when provided. Membership into the Iowa High School Music Association is necessary for schools to gain access to the festival offerings of the association. Schools that are accredited and approved for membership by the Iowa Department of Education are eligible for membership. Schools wishing to become a member of IHSMA simply need to have an administrator fill out the IHSMA membership form and return that form with payment of $25 to the IHSMA office by September 15th annually. After September 15th, the membership fee becomes $37.50. Purchase orders are not accepted for membership. An administrator's signature is required to certify that your school is tax exempt with regard to any items purchased from the Iowa High School Music Association. The signature also certifies that any items purchased will not be resold to employees, parents, students, or others without such fact being reported and the state sales tax paid by your school. Registering to participate in an IHSMA festival is a simple task. First, log into the IHSMA restricted portion of the website. We call it Festival Central. You'll need your user ID and password to do so. If you don't have one, contact the IHSMA office and we'll get one issued to you and get you set up and ready to go. Once logged in, select School Options and then select the festival you wish to participate in. For the purposes of this orientation, we're going to select Marching Band Festival. Please note that once you select your festival, a new menu will appear in the left-hand portion of the screen. From that menu, select Registration and then Entry Edit. The Marching Band Festival registration screen looks like this. You'll note that on this screen your assigned site, as well as the date of the festival, will appear. For this registration, you'll note that you'll need to input the number of participants and then indicate if you will not be using flags, pom-poms, rifles, or other auxiliary. Then simply hit Submit. This should take you to your invoice. If it doesn't, simply select the invoice from the registration menu item in the left-hand column of your screen. As you view your invoice at this point, please notice a few things. The first thing to notice is that there is a button at the bottom center of the invoice that says Submit PO. Secondly, note that it clearly states that your registration process at this point is not complete and that you must submit a purchase order or check number before your registration is finalized. Edits and changes can be made up through this point. At this point, it should be clearly understood that you are not registered for the event. So let's get the registration finalized. Click on the Submit PO button, and now you'll see a PO or check number submission screen. Please note that in addition to submitting a PO or check number, you are also asked to certify that your performance complies with U.S. copyright law and that all appropriate licensing has been secured, if needed, for your performance. You are also certifying that you agree to provide proof of any needed licensing to the IHSMA office upon completion of this registration. We'll talk more about the copyright verification process later. Schools whose performances are not compliant with U.S. copyright law will not be allowed to participate. If compliant, select the I attest to the statement above checkbox and then enter your purchase order or check number in the appropriate box and click on the Submit button. This should then take you back to your invoice. If not, select Invoice from the left-hand menu under Registration. You should now see that your invoice is complete. The purchase order number or check number you submitted appears on the invoice. The date and time you made the submission is recorded, as well as the name of the person who submitted the information. The copyright certification you attested to is also included on your invoice. If you can see all of this information on the invoice, you can be assured that you are now properly registered for the festival in a timely fashion and no penalty fees will be assessed. Please print off a copy of this invoice and remit it to your school's business office or booster club for payment. Print off a second copy of the invoice for your records. Should there ever be a discrepancy, this completed invoice is your proof to the IHSMA office that you were indeed registered for the festival in a timely manner. Every festival offered by the Iowa High School Music Association has a registration and penalty deadline. To aid teachers with this process, the IHSMA office provides teachers a festival registration deadline and penalty deadline poster. Each deadline is an online submission deadline that expires at midnight of the deadline date. Registrations completed prior to the midnight of the registration deadline incur no penalty. Registrations completed after the registration deadline, but prior to the penalty deadline, incur a penalty that amounts to 50% of the registration fee up to a maximum of $25 per school, band, vocal, and orchestra programs all combined. Once the penalty deadline hits, teachers can no longer register to participate in the festival using the online system. Participation is not denied, but at this point they will need to contact the IHSMA office to get registered. The penalty fees for registering after this point are significant. The fee assessed for registering after the penalty deadline for marching band is $100. All-state is $100 per student. Jazz band, jazz choir, show choir are $100 per ensemble, and solo small ensemble festival is double the registration fee. To make the point of how significant these fees are, let's look at a couple of real-life examples. The registration fee for the IHSMA State Marching Band Festival is $175. Add to that the $25 penalty for missing the registration deadline, and then add the additional penalty for missing the penalty deadline of $100. And we now have a total due that now amounts to $300. Let's do another example, using the IHSMA Solo Small Ensemble Festival. The entry fee for this festival is $12. Add to that a registration deadline penalty of $6, and then a penalty deadline fee of $24, which is double the registration fee, and you now have a total due of $42 for an entry that was initially only $12. No administrator is pleased when these fees are assessed, especially when they are so easily avoided. Teachers need to be aware of the IHSMA registration penalty policy that is included at the bottom of their deadline poster and that is included in each IHSMA bulletin issued. As a safeguard to aid directors in avoiding missing the registration and penalty deadlines, IHSMA has devised an intent to register form. This form, if filled out and returned to the IHSMA office, serves two purposes. First, it provides the IHSMA office with accurate contact information for the staff at each of our member high schools so that important information can be communicated to our teachers in a timely and efficient manner. Please fill this form out in cooperation with your other music staff and return one joint form to the IHSMA office. Please be as complete as possible. Secondly, this form, it tells IHSMA which events you intend to participate in. There is no commitment at this point, only your intention. If you don't know whether or not you'll be participating in a given festival, it's always best to indicate that yes, you intend to participate. It's much better to be safe than sorry. If this form is returned, the IHSMA office on the day following a registration deadline will send out an email reminder to all directors and their administration who intended to participate in the festival but have not successfully completed their registration online. Then, on the day of the penalty deadline, a second email is sent to those same directors and administrators, alerting them to the fact that their registration has still not yet been received and that it must be done prior to midnight to avoid the large penalties associated with missing the penalty deadline. Courtesy emails are also sent out prior to each deadline to all directors regardless of whether or not they've registered, reminding directors that the deadline is imminent. As part of the registration process for any IHSMA festival, each director is asked to certify that their performances are copyright compliant. For those festivals where scores are not required for the adjudication panel, IHSMA requires that each director, prior to festival day, submit the requested materials that verify that their performances are in compliance with U.S. copyright law. IHSMA uses the NFHS Copyright Compliance Database to collect this information. Let's first look at the NFHS database tool and then talk about the materials you will need to prepare for the verification process. The NFHS Copyright Compliance Database is located on the nfhs.org website. If you are a new user to the nfhs.org or nfhslearn.org websites, you'll first need to register. It's free. If you are a returning user, you'll simply need to sign in. Once signed in, locate the Resources menu item and then select Copyright Compliance from the choices listed. Your screen should now look like this. If you've used the Copyright Compliance database before, you'll see your school name underneath the Manage Schools button. If not, you'll need to set up your school. Select Manage Schools and then Create School. Once you've got your school information entered, the next step is to enter information about your ensemble. Once again, if you've used the database before, your ensemble information will appear below the Manage Ensembles button. If not, you'll need to set up each of your performing ensembles. To do so, select the Manage Ensembles button and then the Add Ensemble button. A Create Ensemble screen will now open. Make sure you fill out each of the pieces of information requested. The email address that is captured here becomes a very important tool for the festival hosts of the events you choose to attend. Once you have your ensemble all set up, the next step is to enter the selections your ensemble will be performing. To do so, select the Manage Selections button and then the Add Selection button. At this point, a Create Selection screen will appear, allowing you to enter the title of each selection, identify the composer, arranger, and publisher. At this point, you're asked to identify the composition or license type from the drop-down menu. There are 6 composition types that you can choose from: custom arrangement, master use, mechanical, public domain, stock arrangement, and original composition. Master use and mechanical license types refer to recorded music and are more relevant to spirit teams. The verification process for performance by a musical ensemble involves the following license types: custom arrangement, public domain, stock arrangement, and original composition. Each of these composition types have their own verifications that are needed. Music teachers will want to prepare each of these verification materials before beginning the online submission process. In addition to identifying the composition type, IHSMA requires that you upload materials demonstrating the composition type is what you say it is, or that you have the permissions needed or licensing required by that composition type. To do so, you will need to scan the materials required and create a digital file in one of the following formats: PDF, PNG, TIF, or JPG. The materials you will need to prepare and upload for each composition type are as follows. Custom arrangement. You will need to upload the license certificate issued or the permissions letter received from the publisher or their designated representative. Under no circumstances should you upload the entire file of arranged music. Public domain. You will need to create a scan of the referring web page that clearly shows that this work is in the public domain. Stock arrangement. Scan the first page of the music of the score that contains the copyright statement. Do not scan the entire work or send the title page that has no music on it. Original composition. Upload a permissions letter or email from the composer granting you permission to perform their work at the festivals for which you intend to perform. Once you have the needed files uploaded, select Save and repeat these steps for each selection you will be performing. The last thing you will need to do is sign up for the events you intend to participate in with each ensemble. To do so, you need to go back to the main page of the NFHS.org Copyright Compliance website. Once there, you select the attending events. You'll see that you aren't currently signed up to attend any events. Instead, select the Search Events tab. Select Iowa from the state drop-down menu, and then select the year in which the event is occurring, 2018. Select Search. A listing of all events that have currently been set up will appear. Select the View Attend button for the festival you wish to attend, and for the purposes of this tutorial, let's select the IHSMA State Marching Band Festival North. Information about that festival will then appear. Select which ensemble will be attending for the selected event, and then select Save. The attending events screen will then appear and show you that you are now attending the event you selected. If you have more than one event you're attending, simply go back to the search function and select View Attend for each event you wish to participate in. If you wish to participate in an event that's not listed, contact the manager of that event and inquire as to the copyright verification process they will be utilizing. Suggest to them that they use the NFHS Copyright Compliance database if they're unaware of it. Once they have the event set up, you can then attend it. The Fall and Spring Bulletins are the official publications of the Iowa High School Music Association. All of the regulations for each IHSMA festival can be found in these publications. Site assignments, meeting minutes, the sanctioning policy, elections information, and Unified Activities Federation calendars can all be found within these publications. Each school is sent one copy of the publication for each music department, band, vocal, and orchestra, as well as one administrative copy. These publications can also be found on the IHSMA website, ihsma.org. The Unified Activities Federation calendars are an important feature of these publications. This calendar is jointly administered by our 4 activity associations and contains all of the state-level dates for those 4 activity associations. The calendars are provided for a 5-year span, the most immediate year in approved status and the following 4 years in tentative status. The 4 activity associations work diligently together to ensure that there are not conflicts between activity dates at the state level. In instances where conflicts cannot be avoided, accommodations have been made so that students are not forced to make a choice between state-level activities. The Iowa High School Music Association directly sponsors and administrates a complete series of music festivals for our member schools. We do, however, understand that the series offered may not meet the entire needs of our member schools, and as such, we allow our member schools and other entities to host their own competitive or evaluative events. Those events, however, are required to be sanctioned or approved by the IHSMA office annually and must abide by the IHSMA sanctioning policy. Schools wishing to hold such events must file an application for sanction of an interstate music event and be approved. The application should be filed at least 30 days prior to the event. The IHSMA sanctioning policy and application can be found on the IHSMA website. Member schools are not allowed to participate in non-sanctioned interstate music events. Directors can always find the most up-to-date complete listing of sanctioned music events on the IHSMA website. Sanctioned music events are strongly encouraged to employ a copyright verification process for their event. Directions for this process can be found on the IHSMA website as well. The IHSMA Large Group Music Festival employs a required literature list for concert bands and for concert choirs. The required literature lists can be found on the IHSMA website under Festival Information and then by selecting Large Group Festival. Bands and choirs are required to perform one work from the required list in its entirety. Teachers are cautioned against programming the required work last and then getting cut off for exceeding the maximum allowed performance time. The concert band list contains works that have multiple movements and that, if played in their entirety, exceed the maximum performance time allowed. In this instance, directors are allowed to omit movements of the work to bring their performance within the time constraints of the festival, provided they do not perform any other selections. Additional information about the use of the required lists can be found in the regulations bundle accompanying each list. While the Iowa High School Music Association is the association that is charged with overseeing interscholastic high school music activities, there are several professional associations that directors need to be aware of. Each of these associations provide vital support to music educators. Unlike IHSMA, that has a school membership, teachers individually become members of these associations. The Iowa Alliance for Arts Education is an umbrella arts association that provides art advocacy throughout the state and nationally, oversees the statewide mentorship program, and that works closely with legislature and the Iowa Department of Education to affect policy and legislative change for the arts. The Iowa Music Educators Association is the Iowa affiliate chapter of NAFME, the National Association for Music Education, and represents all music educators regardless of discipline. This association partners with the Iowa High School Music Association to oversee the All-State Music Festival and holds its annual Music Educator Professional Development Conference in conjunction with the All-State Music Festival. The Iowa Bandmasters Association, Iowa Choral Directors Association, and Iowa String Teachers Association are discipline-specific associations that each provide their own professional development conferences for their membership. String teachers in the late winter, early spring, bandmasters in May, and the Choral Directors Association during the summer in July. More information about each of these associations can be found on the main page of the IHSMA website under the Links section in the lower right-hand corner. This concludes this orientation to the Iowa High School Music Association. Please don't hesitate to contact the IHSMA office should you have any questions or need assistance as the year progresses. IHSMA exists to serve its member schools.